All right, we'll call this meeting to order. Start with the consent agenda. All the following items which concern reports and items of a routine nature normally approved at AHA meetings will be approved by one vote unless any trustee desires to have a separate vote on any or all these items. Consent agenda consists of discussion, consideration, and action on the following items. Minutes of the Finance Committee meeting on August 18th, 2014. Minutes of the monthly trustee meeting on August 19th, 2014. And a check report August 8th, 2014 through September 7th, 2014. I'd entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Mr. Chairman, I move we approve the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
We have a motion by Steve Knox, a second by Kayla Simon to approve the consent agenda. Roll call vote, please.
Brown?
Yes.
Gasper?
Yes.
Kinsey? Yes. Knox?
Yes.
Simon? Yes.
Okay. The next item is CEO's report. Candace?
Kind of short this month. The radiology department, we did get the digitizer installed, so we're up and running. Happy with that process. Dr. Shepard was on site last week, that should say, to explore the opportunity of doing a clinic surgery here. And at this time, we just didn't feel like we had the volume to support a second surgeon, and he would like to possibly revisit that at a later date. The inpatient satisfaction surveys and ER satisfaction surveys have been started. The results should be attached. These will be entered into SQSS. Right now they're on paper, and they are manually entering those into the computer at this time. Still, the HCAHPS continues to be a very low response. I think we had 2. During the month of August, the volunteers logged 430 hours of volunteer work. Currently, we've contracted with Northwest Physical Therapy and Sports Rehab out of Woodward to cover our physical therapy needs at this time while attempting to recruit a director for that department. EHR status report, meaningful use is coming right along. We're in the home stretch of this reporting period, which ends September 30th. Alan and Melissa signed up approximately 50 people for patient portal at the fair, and we went live with e-prescribing or e-scribe on September the 8th. A special thank you to Janie Kanega for the supplies that she recently donated to our nursing home. Boxes and boxes of supplies that they definitely can use at the nursing home, and we do appreciate her donation. The chiller was down for almost a week, and it did get kind of warm. Stressed our servers again in the server room, as well as our lab equipment in the laboratory. So we're going to look at putting separate air conditioner units in those areas and in the pharmacy, because when that happens in the summer, in the hotter months, it's hard on that equipment. So we're going to look at doing that, because this is the second time in 3 years that we've dealt with that. We had the repairman here, and he highly suggested that we go on a maintenance agreement for that chiller, because it is just so intricate and just way above our maintenance to be able to maintenance that equipment routinely. So we'll be looking at doing that. I have not got that agreement yet. Darlene Bainbridge was here last week, again helping staff get all this stuff into SQSS. It is coming along, and we are really pleased and excited about the use of that software.
Candace?
Yes, sir.
Going back to the chiller, that service agreement's not going to cover like a brownout, though, damage from a brownout, right? So we still have that issue.
Correct. he felt like the issues were caused, when we lose electricity or brown out, it messes up the brain of that. And it's also damaged some other equipment in-house as well, which we need to be keeping track of when that happens. But we're going to be working to see if there's not a solution for that. We do have something called a conditioner in place that conditions the electricity that comes in, that feeds that chiller, that, when it loses power, it has to kind of reboot just like your computer. And so many times of that, it's just really hard on it. What he did install is more resistant to the brownouts, but still we need to try to remedy that situation. So we're going to work on that to see if there's anything we can do on our end to help that.
Thank you.
On August 25th, Tara Thomas, a member of the Oklahoma Board of Nursing and a member of the State Board of Career Tech, visited and toured our facility regarding our participation in the LPN program at the Career Tech, and they're impressed with the facility and the opportunities that are available to their students. We currently have one LPN student that's doing her preceptorship with us during the month of September. I believe that's all I have. Does anybody have any questions?
Any questions for Candace?
I move that we approve the Share Medical Center written report to include hospital, hospice, and convalescent home quality measures, HCAPS, core measures for August 16, 2014.
Second.
Shouldn't that be September 16th?
Or for September.
All right. We have a motion by Dr. Kinsey, a second by Hala Simon, to accept the Share Medical Center written report to include hospital, hospice, and convalescent home quality measures, HCAPS, core measures for September 16, 2014. Roll call vote, please.
Brown,
Yes.
Gasper,
Yes.
Kinsey,
Yes.
Knox,
Yes.
Slim. Yes.
All right. Thank you, Candace. Next is the CFO's report.
Okay.
Kevin?
Okay. In the month of August, we had operating cash balance at the end of the month of $301,588. This represented 10.1 days of operating expense, excluding depreciation. Our accounts receivable rose by $120,300, and it got it up to $3,092,199. What this did was our gross days in the AR went up 0.9 days to 73.6. Our accounts payable was $727,372. That was a decrease from the prior month. We're down to 63.1 days of operating expense. Gross patient revenue for the month was $1,665,786. That was a $144,493 increase compared to the prior month. And most of the increase was due to the hospital. The hospital increased by $153,295 in charges. The nursing home's seen a small decrease of $8,628, and the Homestead had a decrease of $173. Total patient days for August were 85 compared to 109 in July. Hospice days for August were 140 compared to 162 the month before. Total clinic visits increased in August. They were 839 compared to 787 in July. And the nursing home average daily census for August was 50.5 compared to 52.2 in July. Contractuals, less bad debt, and charity care for August was 46.7% of gross patient revenue. We wrote off $152,395 to the collection agency, but we also gave away $28,123 in charity care for August. Operating expenses, excluding the salaries, benefits, and depreciation for August, totaled $381,084, a decrease of $10,992 compared to the prior month. Our salaries and wages decreased $18,513 to $476,775 for the month. We had a net operating loss for August of $109,280 with sales tax and other contributions. We actually ended up with a net income after sales tax of $15,621. In your packet, I've got, of course, the financials for you to look over. I don't know if there's anything in particular. If you guys want to just kind of take a chance to look through there, and if you have questions, let me know. And then, of course, towards the back is the statistical summaries of the different volumes for the facility.
Does anyone have any questions for Kevin? Kevin, didn't you share that when actual sales tax came in, it was actually $16,000?
It was actually, yeah, right. Correct. The sales tax I had $148,461. Actual sales tax was $164,000, a little over $164,000 for the month. The issue was we had to get financials out, and the sales tax came in the next day. So sales tax next month, you'll see a $16,000 increase in what it actually is.
If there are no other questions, Kevin, we will move on. Kevin, thank you. I don't know about everybody else, but I also like those. Even the statistical graphs out there that show month over month and year over year. Those are very helpful. Next is the Medical Staff Executive Committee.
All right, so there's been a slight change to what I'll review. First, I am going to go over what our agenda was the previous month as part of our QAPI. We kind of discussed whether to review the minutes from the month even before that, or whether just to review the agenda from the meeting before. It seems to make more sense to discuss the meeting that just occurred last week, but those minutes haven't been approved yet, so I'm not going to approve those minutes. We'll just discuss the agenda, and then I'll discuss what we talked about in that. So this is the agenda from our meeting from last Thursday, and I think it'll make more sense as we go through. We did talk about online death certificates. This is something that's designed to help smooth out the speed with which death certificates get filed. The state has a program where you can actually file them online. The funeral home puts in the information, the doctor puts in the information, and then they get filed. They still can be done on paper, but there's an opportunity to do them online. And then Steve Powell was here from St. Anthony, and he talked about how they could I already forgot what he talked about. But Steve Powell was here from St. Anthony and discussed, now I really did forget.
CIOs.
Clinically
Integrated organization.
The whole idea of the clinically integrated organization and how it's a big concept of the clinically integrated organization and how they were trying to expand St. Anthony's to have some purchasing power in each area of Oklahoma, and perhaps to be able to provide services then in each area. It was a long talk, and I've heard it a couple times. But anyway, then the medical staff committee reports we discussed in credentialing committee, reappointment to courtesy staff of a couple of positions, which I'll bring up again in a minute. We had the QAPI report on the agenda, but this is something that probably won't be coming up, and even at the time we had discussion about whether it needed to be on the agenda every month, and we kind of breezed over it. There are a few excerpts from the copy report in the back here, which were about acquired infections and total readmitted. There was nothing significant in those to report because we didn't have readmitted within 30 days or any hospital-acquired infections, which was great. The utilization review report with committee had met. Dr. Self gave a brief report on that. And then there were several standing order reports or standing order forms for pneumonia and chest pain in the emergency room and a couple of other forms that need to be reviewed every year. And those we reviewed and approved as they had been for the previous years. Then Candace gave her report, the CFO gave his report. We briefly talked about the EHR, though there was not a lot of new stuff to talk about, and then we adjourned. So in the credentialing committee, we talked about reappointment to courtesy staff of 2 positions, Dr. Justin Pham, MD for teleradiology, and Dr. Jeremy Phelps, MD, who is actually neurosurgery, not neurology. And the medical staff recommended that they be reappointed to courtesy staff, and I move that they be reappointed to courtesy staff.
Second.
My preference would be to have those separated out, because there might be someone who wants to vote yes on one and no on the other.
Okay.
I thought you said that I could do them both together when they were the same.
It really,
There's been some changes in the law.
All right.
And so with that,
I move that we reappoint to courtesy staff.
you have a motion and a second on the floor.
Oh, sorry.
I think you have to take a vote, and I think that vote would be just, you don't do anything,
No.
say no. The no vote is basically what we're looking for here. I know it sounds odd, but you have to take a vote on that.
Okay.
Can we then re-vote on it though?
Yes. We got to take the current motion and second off the
Okay.
floor.
Got it.
And it's already been seconded, so.
Okay. So we have a motion by Dr. Kinsey, and we have a second by Steve Knox to reappoint to courtesy staff Justin Pham, MD, teleradiology, and Jeremy Phelps, MD, neurosurgery. Roll call vote,
Brown.
right?
No.
Gasper.
No.
Kinsey.
No.
Knox.
No.
Simon. No. Hope those poor guys aren't watching this.
They'll be glad it's procedurally done
A
correct.
little comedy intermission
Okay,
there.
there you go.
Okay.
Well then, in that case, I move that we reappoint to courtesy staff Dr. Justin Pham, teleradiology.
Second.
We have a motion to reappoint to courtesy staff Justin Pham, MD, teleradiology. Roll call vote, please.
Brown.
yes.
Gasper.
Yes.
Kinsey.
Yes.
Knox.
Yes.
Simon. Yes.
Okay, then I move that we reappoint to courtesy staff Dr. Jeremy Phelps, neurosurgery.
Second.
We have a motion to reappoint to courtesy staff Jeremy Phelps, MD, neurosurgery. We have a motion by Dr. Kinsey, a second by Steve Knox to reappoint to courtesy staff Jeremy Phelps, MD, neurosurgery. How about that? Roll call vote, please.
Brown.
Yes.
Klein. Gasper.
Yes.
Kinsey.
Yes.
Knox.
Yes.
Simon. Yes.
Anything else, Dr. Kinsey?
In the anything else realm, yes.
Okay.
Two quite amazing things happened during the last month. One, in the emergency room, a 26-week gestation baby was born who made
26 weeks.
It's like this big.
1 pound 11 ounces, and was transferred to OKC by helicopter after about, baby was here for almost 3 hours. But got transferred out and is doing fine at last report. And I think that the teamwork in the emergency room and with OKC, Only Children's, just was amazing. The fact that I don't know how many people were in the emergency room when I got here, just to be here to help if needed. The emergency staff, I called my dad and said, wow, it was really cool. He's like, why did 3 ambulances need to be there for one baby? And I was like, no, because we needed hands, it was just people here. And everyone stayed until it was just wonderful. And I thought that was really cool. And then later in the month, a lady had sudden cardiac death at the bank. And I don't know, when I moved here 4 years ago, and I don't know if it was true or not, but the predominating feeling was that, if you had sudden cardiac death in Alva, that was kind of the end of it for you. But this lady had sudden cardiac death at the bank, and she's back home today after getting immediate care at the bank. Excellent EMS care, excellent care in the emergency room, rapid transfer to a hospital that could care for her in Enid, excellent care there. I mean, just from, she got the chain of care that is described in the ALS pathway, and she's alive and home today. And I think that is an amazing, what I want to say, testament to the community and how they've come together to really provide that care. I get goosebumps just thinking about those 2 cases and how those people have made it through. So I just wanted to say, everybody's doing a great job. It's really cool.
That's good. That's neat to hear. Thank you, Dr. Kinsey.
I've got a question. It's not so much for Dr. Kinsey, but on the report it says copies too, and the last one is Dr. William Koch.
Yes.
Is that an ER doctor?
Yes.
Okay.
All right. Thank you again. Next is the quality assurance process improvement.
Report by Pat Nida.
That would be Pat Nida.
I'm back. Yeah, Pat Nida. And we, I sent 2 reports. I think you guys have 2 reports that are quality improvement plans. Right now the system is, everybody's trying to learn how to use the system. But Darlene was here last week, who is the person that made the particular software. And she sat down with all of us and talked to us about some quality improvement things that we could do, which are very interesting when you start thinking about all the things that you can do quality with. Kevin we talked about, Kevin can now keep track of the laundry weights, because the laundry is going to put the laundry weights into SQSS, and all he has to do is look at his SQSS and validate what they've put in there and write his report. It's going to be fantastic once we get to going, but it's going to be kind of slow because everybody's got to understand what the software does. So, you can keep your inventory on that. That's one of the other things we talked about is, it's always been kind of a big deal when somebody brings about a stack of papers about this big to you on the nursing floor and says, we need your inventory filled out today. What do you need? and does it twice a week. And you're a nurse on the floor and you're like, really? So we're going to put the inventory on SQSS, and it'll come up when we need more. They're actually going to do a new inventory. The inventory hadn't been done since an employee we had retired about 9 years ago. So that brought up more things, that quality issues that we aren't really seeing. And ER is going to be the same way. Their inventory is going to be brought up today. Lots of things going to be happening with board reports will be on there. Jan will be keeping track of who's late, who doesn't, who she has to call all the time, me being one probably. But we'll be putting on there, she'll put on there that your board report was on time. And if your board report isn't on time, when Candace is doing evaluation, she can say, hey, look here, look what I see on your stuff that you're doing here. You're late all the time. Why should I give you a raise? She's got criteria right there. So it's going to be a wonderful system. Just going to have to learn how to use it. So we hope by January 1 we'll be kind of cleaning house and having everything going. You get an email. I get an email if there's been something happen in the drug room. I get an email about it. Then we're going to figure out what we're going to do to change that. So quality improvement is when you change, when you're finding that things aren't working, so you're going to have to do a quality improvement. How are we going to improve that? And then you study it for a while, and if it's working, you continue it. If it's not working, then you think of another way to improve that. Quality assurance is mainly things that you traditionally study, like refrigerator temperatures, blanket warmers, what the temperature is. You're going to go along, and when you see that the refrigerator temperatures are not accurate for a couple of days, maybe one day it's off, but you adjust it and it works okay. You're not going to change things immediately. You're going to watch it, see if it changes, and then do a quality improvement. Send a Just Do It to maintenance, get them up there. So you can send Just Do It's to people that you need to tell them to get something done. It's a wonderful system, but you have to know how to use it. I'm learning. But if you'll look at those QIs, we actually, Anne started hers by saying with conscious sedation, she has to have a checklist. And she said, oh, I did that. I implemented it, and I told everybody about it. And I said, well, did they follow it when they did do a conscious sedation? She said, well, I think so. She went back and looked. Sure enough, they didn't do it all. So that's what we see happen a lot of times. You think you're doing a great job, and I know I've talked to Candace about this. Really, I've done a great job. I've got it going. But if you don't go back and look and see if it's working, you're just wasting your time. So we're going to see improvement on that. Of course, Regina, the shining star, she was having trouble with nebulizer treatments. They weren't doing pre and post documentation on vital signs, so she started that in July. She had 50.9% compliance, and in August she had 100%. So these are the things that you'll see. We'll bring some of these to the board for y'all to see, and hopefully this will be a great program for us. Do you have any questions? She might even want to put attendance to board meetings on there.
Dock our pay.
Yeah, you might not. They'll make sure you don't get dessert next time.
That wouldn't hurt me.
Thank you, Pat. Next, CHR report.
Nothing different.
Nothing different. Next is the Share Convalescent Home report. Rita,
Hi.
welcome.
Well, we've had a busy month. We have had several new admissions, really from Jane leaving, and by the way, she texted me and wanted me to explain to you again how thankful she is that you've allowed her to work here for as long as she did. And see, Monday she did 10 loads of laundry. Today she was in the carpool lot waiting on the grandkids. So she's on her way. Anyway, at the nursing home, we've been really busy. We've had a couple of little incidents with stomach flu. So we've had to work on staffing. Everything I think is going really well. Now that's by me, so maybe we'll ask somebody else. We do have, the Focus on Excellence has mailed us some lists that we need to provide for our annual survey to our employees and our residents. So right off the bat, you'll be able to know where we stand with employees and residents. As soon as we get those results, we'll share them with you and let you know. If there's anything I can do or answer questions, please let me know. I'll try to get on it as soon as possible. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Rita. Next is the Homestead Report. Kelly?
Things are going really well. We've had, since the last AHA meeting, we've had 2 new apartments rented. It's 3 residents and 2 apartments. We have one resident moving in tomorrow, awaiting her final apartment. But with her coming in tomorrow, that makes 3 residents who are waiting to move to different rooms. So they're upgrading their apartments or getting one that's closer to the dining room if that be the case. So we're in the process of refurbishing those apartments. That way, what we find out is a lot of them are willing to just go ahead and move in as is, but if we don't refurbish them now, they won't be in very good shape by the time they've been there a little bit. So refurbishment generally includes carpets, flooring, and painting the walls, patching holes in the walls and stuff like that. Nail holes, not anything major. But that is a refurbishment account where the funding is available from their deposits they make on their apartments. So we're doing that. We still have 9 apartments available, varying sizes. We do have 1 of each available at this time. We are looking at having we had an increase in occupancy from July to August, and we look to have a more significant increase if things keep going the way they're doing for the month of September. We look at jumping up around the 85% occupancy mark, which is the equivalent of about 45 or 6 rooms rented. So that's good. We've had some new staff hired, and I want to point out one. Aubrey Northcutt is a pre-med student at Northwestern, and we just found out yesterday, or last week actually, that she passed her MCAT, and she intends to apply for the School of Osteopathic Medicine at Tulsa. So we'll wait and see how that goes for her. Of course, we're trying to give her a positive experience, and hopefully she'll consider staying in the area and maybe coming back here. But that concludes my report.
All right. Thank you, Kelly, for the Homestead Report. Now, is there anything to report from SMC Foundation?
I will make one report. We did have an anonymous donor. I know who the donor was, but they prefer no public recognition. $10,000 for improvements at the hospital. So we'll be publicizing what their gift does, but not who they are. So as soon as that happens, we'll get some word out for everybody.
Okay.
The foundation has not met, though. We'll meet in October.
Okay. Thank you again.
Dr. Casey?
Next is the St. Anthony's Report. Bridget?
I don't really have a whole lot to update on.
We did get the final signed agreement with St. Mary's, so I've been emailing back and forth today, and I think our ceremony is going to be October 16th, but we will get something formalized and in the mail so that anybody that would like to participate in that ceremony certainly can, and that would be at St. Mary's Hospital, with us coming to them and having a ceremony with all of our affiliate hospitals as well. So, as Dr. Kennedy said, Steve Powell came out and talked about the CIO, and I think we visited about that before here at the board level. Right now it's kind of hard to grasp until you actually get the plan documents in front of you. So I think we're all kind of anxious for January to kind of roll around so that we can see it. I think most of us are technical people and like to kind of see how things really work. So we'll be anxious for that to kind of roll around. So, but we'll continue to visit with all the affiliates and try to inform them and to help somewhat understand the program as we're formalizing it. So unless y'all have any particular questions, it's really. We have our summit coming up October 24th, so we're looking forward to that. We have a nice agenda that we put together, so you should be receiving something if you haven't before with the agenda. So that's pretty much all I have.
Okay. Thank you, Bridget.
Yes.
Next, City Council report.
Well, in our first meeting of the month, we approved and authorized the purchase of some equipment for the Alva EMS services. Staff of the EMS had gone out and sought and obtained and was awarded grant funding. They now have a ventilator on one of the units, and within that first month of having that equipment, have had a need 3 times already to utilize that for transfer purposes, which is going to be a nice asset to the community of Alva and Sheriff Hospital to have that local service even more local. Last night's meeting, we reappointed to the board here, Darlene Sanderson, whose term expires at the end of this month, but we reappointed her for another 3 years. And we also surplused off a lot of equipment for Mr. Kelly Parker over at the Homestead, items that had been occupying some closets and deep dark corners over there that I think maybe are going to help him out in offering some additional service to clients at the Homestead. And that's what City Council's been up to.
All right. Thank you, Scott. The only thing that I have is a thank you note from Jane. It says, "Thank you for the lovely gift. I will fondly think of SMC when I get to a vacation. Bless your work as you care for SMC, Jane Gaskell." And just from donors and the SMC, Jane was given a gift certificate upon her retirement to go travel. So very much, she was very much deserving of that gift, and I hope that she enjoys it and is able to make a lot of memories from that, because we've got a lot of memories of her. So I don't have anything else. Is there any other items of new business to be brought?
That doesn't count, Jerry. I'm just telling you.
What's the word that speaks in?
That's like,
Do you want to move to adjourn?
I would move to do that.
oh no.
If there are no items of new business, we are adjourned.
So you made a donation to the city?
What's that? No.
Oh, okay.
They can catch me